We are live and we are talking all things Little Rock, Arkansas, and any other city that I probably don't know enough about. Ray, thank you so much for joining.
Good. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. So, Ray knows a lot more than I do about streaming on YouTube, and he's what I consider a professional. So, thank you for being on my amateur hour. I appreciate
No,
it.
this is great. I think you're actually probably doing better than me in a lot of categories on YouTube, so you're great.
Hey, I'm trying. I just try to beat you all the time. So,
Yeah.
we're talking about where you are, what you serve, that whole jazz.
Yeah.
So, why don't you tell us a little bit about the areas that you do serve?
So I'm in Central Arkansas primarily. So there's two major markets in Arkansas: Central Arkansas, which is made up of Little Rock and some surrounding towns and cities, and then Northwest Arkansas, which a lot of people know because that's the home of Walmart, and that is Fayetteville, Bentonville, Springdale, Rogers. So those are the two main areas. We have some folks in both, but our primary market is actually Central Arkansas. We're the capital city.
Okay. And one thing that you mentioned about Arkansas that I didn't know, and I actually don't know anything really about Arkansas, so I apologize in advance, and that's why you're here. But
That's
you
phenomenal.
mentioned that it's the natural state, right? And I love hiking. I know a lot of people that come to California for this reason. So tell us a little bit more about what that is and what that's all about.
Yeah, we're perhaps best known as the natural state. And a lot of people originally thought it was the natural state because there just weren't people here. But that's not the case. There's actually a lot of stuff to do here. Now, we don't have any legit mountains. You're not going to go skiing. You're not going to be doing anything like that in Arkansas. You can go water skiing, but you're definitely not going to be like hitting the slopes or, you're not going to be seeing the ocean. But we have tons of lakes, tons of trails, tons of forests, tons of mountains, rivers, valleys. Not official mountains, but that's a whole nother sore subject. It's like 200 feet short of an official mountain, but it's close.
Oh,
But no, there's
so close.
but there's a lot to do in the outdoors, and that's probably what we're most known for. Why some people come here vacation. They usually go to the lakes and resorts and stuff like that around the lakes, or they'll go to the cabins in the woods just to get away. But a lot of people move here to live in that environment instead of the hustle and bustle of a major metro.
So, on that subject, where are you seeing people mainly move from to your area?
California.
It's
No,
me.
yeah, probably half the people that we've moved from out of state, and I do a lot of out of state to Arkansas. About half the people have moved from California. Another number of people from Washington, Oregon. So that whole coast is feeding us a lot of people. There's also a lot of people in traditionally outdoorsy spots that are coming here because what they fell in love with in Colorado is now becoming overpopulated. So they're
Yeah.
looking for an area that they can experience the nature and kind of get away from all the people that are moving there because it's cool and it's changing their city. And so they're trying to come this way.
And
There's a
and a
lot of
lot
people
of those.
moving. Oh, no, go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's funny because they probably all originated in California and then they moved to Colorado to
That's
get
probably true.
away, and now
Yes.
they're moving to Arkansas to get
Moving
away.
further and further away. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now we have, it's mainly the number one group of people that we have moving here are people from big cities or people from areas that were traditionally very outdoorsy that are now just overpopulated, overcrowded.
Okay, and Little Rock, rather, when I looked it up, again, I was very surprised. I did a little bit of research, but the first
Nice.
thing that came up was a massive city, which,
Yeah.
again,
Well,
I'm sorry to anyone in Arkansas, but I just imagined a lot of farming and a lot of open space and less cities. And again, that's,
yeah.
I guess, it's a little ignorant of me, but please tell me, what is the downtown like and what is that area? Is it big?
Not compared to like a huge major metro, no. But it is like it's got everything that you could want or have in, an area like Dallas or, Memphis or, some of those other surrounding areas. It's got everything that those areas have, but it's also 20 minutes from the middle of the woods. And I think that's kind of why people like it because you can
I
go
love that.
downtown and have a really fun time at all the cool bars, and we have, you know, microbreweries and stuff like that that you can walk. And it's just a really cool area downtown. There's also North Little Rock, which is just north of Little Rock. It's a separate city, just the river's in the middle. And they have a really nice downtown too. And you can actually ride a trolley from one to the other. Everything's just smaller. So instead of like, you know, 7 miles of downtown, maybe it's only 3. And it's very easy to get into places most of the time. It's not overcrowded. You're not going to get, you know, sold out on most things, unless there's a really big name or big ticket coming to town. But it's really, you know, you can make reservations most of the time the day of, if you want to go out to a nice place. So you don't have to book months out, like I've heard some you do. So it's just really, what's the word? Quaint. As far as the downtown goes, it still gets a little rowdy. I mean, you know, they have big concerts outdoors and stuff like that there, and that's a lot of fun. But it's not, it's definitely not the giant metro, you know, where you're going to go get lost in downtown. It's pretty easy there's like maybe 20 streets and then you're out of it.
Got it.
So, and there's not there's a couple of tall buildings, but there's not a lot. I mean, it's not a huge skyline.
So that picture that I found was the skyline.
That is it. Yeah. Yeah. That is the one from the river looking to the city. You see all the big buildings, and that's the skyline. There's no other skyline other than trees. So that's actually what people say most often when they come here is like, wow, I had no idea there was a place that had this many trees. Because even downtown, there's tons of trees. So we have tons of nature and trees everywhere.
And every time I do one of these interviews, it makes me want to go visit these places. Like, it's just, it's so tempting because, I mean, again, I was born and raised in California. So my experience really is California. And I hear of all of these other places that I'm like, I want to go there now. So it sounds amazing. Yeah. And what you've told me is incredible. So let's say Sally from California wants to move out there. What is someone typically looking for as far as the type of home, the style? What is pretty comparable? I mean, people are coming from selling with a lot of equity, typically coming from California. What are they looking for there? And is it driving up prices, generally speaking?
So I'll talk about it 2 different ways, actually 3 different ways. The first way is if they work for a vendor that has any relationship with Walmart. That's a huge market here. And Walmart requires most of their vendors to have an office in Bentonville, which is their headquarters. That's in Northwest Arkansas. So if you have somebody from California moving to Northwest Arkansas, the prices are definitely going to be inflated. They could still afford about twice what they could in California. But, you know, for $1 million home in California, which is a nice, you know, medium type of home, it'd probably cost you $300,000 to $500,000 in Northwest Arkansas. That same home, and then you have either money left over, or you can go and buy a really nice house for about $1 million. So that's kind of what's happening in Bentonville. That's been happening for years. I mean, I started real estate up in Northwest Arkansas in 2007, and that was happening back then before the fall. In Central Arkansas, if there's somebody from California looking in Central Arkansas, they're probably coming for healthcare, government jobs, or some kind of relationship or attachment to some of the big companies we have here. Axiom is a big data company. Dillard's, big retail outlet. And Amazon has some places here now. So they're probably coming to work. Stevens is a big financial company. And if they are, it's going to be a slightly different situation in Central Arkansas, where the $1 million home in California only costs about $300,000 here. And so if you buy the same home, you'll have a lot of money left over. But what we see normally is that people go up a little bit and they buy a nicer home than they can afford. And they're like, wow, this is great. Like, for the same that you can afford a small townhome or something in some of those areas in California, you can get like a castle here. So, you know, if you're over $1 million here, it's a very nice house. If it's $1.5 million, it's like a castle. So it's a very different market. The third thing that we see some people do, and this is what I suggest most often, is that people increase their standard of living slightly when they come here because the cost of living is so low. So the cost of everything, maintenance of the home, food, gas, everything's lower here. Taxes.
Yeah.
So Don't spend all the money though. Save some of it and then invest in some rental properties, because Arkansas is also very landlord friendly. We also have really low taxes. So you have a low tax, landlord friendly rental environment where the rent rates are escalating faster than the home prices. This is a really strong move, in my opinion. And we're getting a lot. I guess the fourth thing that we see are a lot of people that are divesting from California because they can't hit the numbers that they're looking for, and they're investing in Arkansas. We helped a guy divest from California, small home rental that he had, and we increased his profit per month by over 330%.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a dream for an investor.
Yeah. And all he did was sell there and buy here.
Wow. That's incredible for one action.
Yeah.
My gosh. Yeah. And I mean, honestly, that was going to be one of my questions for you, because I know you have spoken to me about your investors from California, and I'm sure they're from all over kind of the more prime markets where they're not getting the return on investment as much.
Yeah.
And we've been looking for an investment property, and that's just an incredible opportunity right now. And I mean, I would assume, and correct me if I'm wrong, but in this market specifically, it's an incredible opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people are tantalized by the $30,000 and $60,000 homes that they see. But I can tell you that in most cases, the investor doesn't really want to buy those homes. Just like if you're thinking about the worst possible area of California, would you want to buy an investment property there? And most of the time, those investors are like, nah. Well, you probably don't want to do that here either. Like, you're looking at the very bottom of the barrel pricing. Our median, I think our median was around 300. I'm not sure what's happened lately because I know the market's kind of been wild. But our median home price, you see, the median list price right now is 282. So the median home price is still around that. If you bought a home in the $200,000 range, you're going to have some really good appreciation numbers over time. You'll be in an area of the market that has tenants that take care of their stuff and take care of your house for you. And you're going to be in a very desirable area with good schools that tenants really flock to and will rent for a longer period of time. And so that's generally what we recommend, is not going for the 20% return annually. Go for the 10% return annually with a much better situation, much better rental, much better quality of home. You have a lot lower expenses, lower maintenance, better property manager, and lower vacancy rate. So all those things pay off way more than just getting a 15 to 20% return annually.
Right. Absolutely. And this is why you hire someone that knows what they're talking about in the investment portfolio as well. Very
nerd.
Well, it applies directly to the situation, and we're all here to make our clients more money. That's it's
Yeah,
a
for
good
real.
business to be in for them. Yeah. So aside from investments, so let's talk a little bit more just generally market specific. So
Okay.
what are you seeing right now? Are you seeing a lot of people writing contingent offers? And again, I use these terms loosely because different states have different relations to this.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of clients that they may want to sell a home here in California before they relocate and buy something else. Are you seeing this as a common theme right now? And are you seeing more opportunity for people in that situation? So before you
Yeah.
answer that, just to back up quickly, in our market specifically, excuse me, you couldn't write an offer with any contingencies for many, many months during the peak of the market. You couldn't write it trying to sell a home, and you couldn't write a contingency for any other terms as well. So we're seeing that flip flop. So I'm curious of your market.
So where major markets have these super high peaks and then super low valleys, our market goes up a little bit, down a little bit, up a little bit, down a little bit. So while we did see for our market a huge increase in the number of homes that were selling in one day, in 1 hour, and a huge increase in purchase price over the last 2 years, it wasn't 150,000 over list price. It was 50, right? So we did see a lot of people rushing to the market to sell and a lot of people more people rushing to buy with the low interest rates. Now, on the flip side, we have the result of those new comparable prices. So home prices are still up and they're still anticipated to continue to go up, but buyers are able to purchase at list price for the first time in a long time. And they're also sometimes able to purchase just under list. Sometimes they can get a good deal if somebody has, listed their home at what we call the aspirational sales price and it's not working out for them. Then the buyer is coming in way under that and actually getting offers accepted for the first time in a long time. They are getting some closing costs paid. And in some cases, we are getting contingency offers accepted. And this has all happened in the last 3 to 6 months. So I think it's a great opportunity for people. I was actually just talking to Matt on my team about it. And, he was talking about someone saying that they were going to wait on interest rates to drop. And we were kind of saying, well, isn't that funny? Because when interest rates were low and everyone wanted to buy a house, we had people say, well, I'm going to wait until not as many people want to buy. Well,
yeah.
People just aren't going to stop buying. There has to be a catalyst for that. And the catalyst generally is an increase in interest rates. So it's either one or the other. But now the increase in interest rates has created a barrier of entry to some buyers to where now buyers that can enter the market in this increased rate environment can purchase a home at or below list. Previously when they were looking at one of these $250,000 properties, they were like, oh, I can buy that. I should have bought that home last year for $250,000. Well, last year the house would have sold at $300,000. So you'd have been paying way more than list price. Now you can buy it at $250,000, but you're going to have a higher interest rate. So, and at least now in a couple of years, when the rates go down, you can refi and you don't have to search for your ideal home. You're already there. So just refi
Absolutely.
in the home that you already own and you've spent 2 years there. So that's kind of how we're talking with our clients about buying and selling in this market. I think it's a great opportunity for buyers right now. And then sellers are still leaning towards the seller's market. So they're coming out winners regardless.
Yeah. And I mean, I would say the equity earned, which is the point that you were making, is the equity earned is going to far outweigh the cost of the increased interest rate. Right. And, 2 years of equity is substantial, especially in a growing market where you are, where a lot of people are coming from prime markets like California.
Right.
There's a lot of money to be had there. So it's a good move if it's feasible for someone.
But if you're buying and selling in the same market, the market conditions are generally a wash anyway.
Yeah.
Nationally, it's a seller's market.
Buy high,
so if
sell,
it's going to be a wash if you buy or sell. Now, if you drastically change markets, which I think that's one of the reasons why people are coming from California to Arkansas, it's not, it's a seller's market here and it's a seller's market there, but the affordability here is so much more than what it is there.
Completely. Yeah. And as far as people moving interstate, do you get a lot of that still? Just the move up buyer or downsize seller?
Yeah. I mean, that's the other portion of our business is usually from that, people looking to upsize, downsize, right size, whatever. And it's real interesting. They're usually moving the same zip code, same area, or real close to it. There's a couple of neighborhoods specifically that we consider kind of startup homes. And then there's a way to move up into a move up market. And then there's the luxury, and you can easily map those out. Like, it's one of the first things I do with someone that's moving here from out of state is I show the map, and we go through the map of Little Rock, and I tell them about the homes and how, in this area, homes were built in the early 1900s. And in this area, homes were built in 1990 and 2000. So, we kind of go through all that and talk about what they're looking for. And West Little Rock is a pretty common place for someone from California to move to because the homes seem very affordable to them. But for people in Arkansas, West Little Rock is the move up market. They may own or buy somewhere else, but they're wanting to move to a couple of zip codes in West Little Rock that have slightly better school systems or more desirable for people. They may want a slightly larger home, newer build, and that's pretty much the area where all that's happening. So that's what we see a lot, is that someone's buying a starter home and then they're moving usually to West Little Rock as their family grows and expands. They need more space. They want a community or neighborhood around them, that kind of thing.
That's great. Yeah, Ray, you're answering my next question before I ask my next question.
Sorry.
So thank you for being on top of that. No, it's okay. It's perfect because my next question for you would have been, what are the first steps if someone's thinking about
Yeah.
relocating there or thinking about moving to another area, right? And I mean, it's so important to have an action plan. And for me, if I would be either looking for investment properties or looking to relocate my family, I'd want to know the ins and outs of something. And
Yeah.
you can't always just go back and forth, right? Arkansas is
Right.
not that easy to get to. So it's
It's just
not just like a
usually, yeah, it's
hour.
usually a hop. Yeah. You usually have to
Yeah,
fly to
yeah,
Dallas and then to Arkansas. Yeah. Yeah. That's how it happens.
yes. So it's a little bit more complicated. And in this
Yeah.
day of everything's virtual, I'm sure you're doing, I would say, a lot of virtual tours. Are you
Yeah.
selling homes sight unseen? Is that common for
Oh,
you?
yeah. Yeah. Our
Yeah,
investors, especially buy sight unseen, but a lot of people moving here from out of state because of the way their jobs and work line up, we have to do virtual tours with them or, FaceTime tours, things like that. So it's a little, we don't usually go video the property and send it to them unless they just can't make the time work. Sometimes we do that for
yeah,
people in opposite time zones, like military moving across the world. We do have a base here, but more often than not, we'll do a FaceTime showing with someone. And the greatest compliment I get from people that move here from out of state sight unseen is that they weren't really surprised either way. And that's a really good thing. We don't want them to be
great.
like, "Oh, wow, this is so much better than I thought," because that means that we didn't really depict it right. And, there was probably some anguish through the process that they experienced that we could have resolved in telling them
Yeah,
how great this was somehow. But the other side of that is that no one ever says, "Oh, this is not good." So we really, I think, do a good job of showing people the home, and we also give them a little neighborhood tour, let them see the neighbors' homes. Kind of, we tell them so much about the area that by the time they're picking the homes that they want to even see virtually, they're pretty familiar with what the area is like and what it feels like, what it looks like. And then when we actually go into the house, then it's with face. I mean, it's so cool what you could do these days. I mean, cool sounds lame when a 40-year-old says it, but it's so neat these days to see what you could do with a FaceTime showing to show someone this home to where they get a really great understanding of everything about the home. And so that's
completely.
more times than not, our goal is no surprise.
Yeah, yeah, and I love that. I mean, who wants someone coming to your area surprised by, well, you didn't tell me about this block or whatever it is,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you wanna generally avoid that, and I'm sure
Well,
it's
those are the homes I sell for
appreciated.
people. And I'm like, why aren't you using the agent that you used to purchase? So she didn't tell us about, or he didn't tell us about this and that in this home. I'm like, oh, okay. So that's why we're
Yeah,
selling a couple of months after buying.
transparency,
Like, got it. So yeah, but
never fun. Yeah.
and the crux. I mean, obviously, you think you're the best one in your area to deal with, and I think me and my team are the best equipped to do all of this because there's just so much that we've seen, and I've been doing this for 16 years, so there's a lot that we've been through that we kind of know how to help people avoid. And I cringe when I hear someone that's connected with someone else. Now we have some really good agents in this market, so we're blessed with that. But there's only about 3,000 agents. The top 100 probably do 99% of the business. So
Mhm.
there's also this huge gap in experience between those who do most of the business and then those who just kind of do some here and there.
Yeah,
So I would say definitely if you're thinking about coming here and you don't talk to me for whatever reason, then you should definitely interview multiple agents just to make sure you're getting one that knows what they're talking about and that can help you orchestrate this move.
absolutely. Couldn't agree more, Ray. Okay, what are some of your favorite places, and what do you recommend if someone's visiting there or thinking about moving there?
I know you said no tacos, but there's some people don't know that Arkansas is home of cheese dip. We created it.
I'm sorry. That's amazing.
Yeah, we are
Like
actually,
nacho cheese dip?
yeah, like queso. So some people
Queso.
argue about it, but that is why the World Cheese Dip Championship is in Little Rock, is because Arkansas is well known for creating and inventing cheese dip itself. So,
That's
and
kind
there's
of
like
amazing.
the story and everything in the early 1900s or 1800s. Anyway, so definitely you have to try some cheese dip when you're here because it's the world's best. But there's this place called Heights Taco and Tamale, really good. Like, well, I kind of call them California style tacos because it's not a Mexican taco at all. It's like ahi tuna and all this, it's like It's a
Oh,
high
okay.
end. Yeah. It's a frou
Yeah, I
taco.
gotcha.
That's a good place. We have some really good sushi spots. But we also have some, I would say, probably the most well-known Southern nice restaurant that's just popped up recently is Cypress Social. Uh, they have some of the best frog legs that you could have. And if you're coming to Arkansas, you might as well try something like really out there. And I
Yeah,
grew up
of
like,
course.
I didn't like them growing up. And I just tried them at that place as an appetizer, and they're actually really good there. So, but they also
Tastes
have
like
this
chicken.
like, yeah, it's kind of like a weird chicken if it's chicken, but they have this huge pork chop there. They got a really great steak there, and you can sit out on this covered deck and look out over a lake. And so you feel like you're way out in the middle of nowhere. So that's a good place. We also have Wright's Barbecue. That's one of the most famous barbecue joints in the world, whole hog barbecue. Our barbecue is very different. If you go to Texas, it's very beef focused barbecue. If you go to the East Coast, it's usually like more pork focused and vinegary beef barbecue. In Arkansas, it's very pig focused. University of Arkansas Razorbacks, we love to eat our own mascot. And the barbecue here is it's not as sweet as like a Texas barbecue, but it's not as
Okay.
vinegary as like a Virginia style. It's a really nice middle of the road. I'm like, my mouth is watering just thinking about this.
I know my
But
mouth is watering too. I'm like ready.
that's too close to lunch. We have some of the best barbecue in the entire world here, and that's why. It's because it's like a culmination of cultures, of the barbecue cultures in Arkansas. So you
I
have to
love
try
it.
barbecue when
Okay.
you're here.
More reason to go. More reason to go. And then final question, of course, is if people want to get a hold of you,
Yeah.
tell everyone how to find you.
Yeah, Ray Zorback on Instagram, RAYZORBACK. That's the best place to find me is on Instagram because you can jump off from there and go to everything else we do.
Awesome. And you'll be tagged in this video as well. So thank
Yay.
you so much, Ray. I appreciate you. And if you're watching this and you're curious about moving to Little Rock, let me know or let Ray know. If you're thinking about moving anywhere inside or outside of California, also let me know and I will point you in the right direction. Thank you again, Ray. Enjoy your day.
Yeah, thanks for having me.